Welcome back to WKNC 88.1 FM HD1 Raleigh. I'm Hermajesty, and today I'm here with Josh of Makeout Reef, an Orange County garage outfit. And now, if you'd like to, you can introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Josh from Makeout Reef, and I play guitar and I sing.
The band has been kind of a little bit MIA and quiet on social media since
hmm
COVID really happened. What have you all been up to?
Honestly, we've been all doing our own thing. Like we know that during that time there's a lot of um personal stuff, like um we're all in school and we all have jobs and we all actually kind of are pretty distant from each other. We're so I live in Orange County and Liam lives in Long Beach, and then Dylan, our bass player, he lives in LA. So we're all kind of like maybe like 30 minutes away from each other, maybe to 40. And so and yeah, especially during COVID, we've all just been doing our own thing, going to school and quarantining basically. Yeah.
You guys have upcoming shows in August in Pomona and Santa Ana. Are these y'all's first shows back?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And we yeah, because we've noticed that people have started to put on shows, but we were kind of like iffy on the whole thing, kind of like trying to push it a little back more and not try to rush in to get in the back into all that mix.
hmm Um, have you guys seen these shows back?
Um, I went to maybe a few weeks ago, I went to a Julie show. Have you heard of Julie?
No.
Okay, they're also a LA OC band. Dylan, our bass player, is actually the drummer for that band. So I recently went to one of their shows in Santa Ana in Orange County, and it was pretty crazy. It was crazy to be back into that and to feel like everything's okay, or everything's like back to normal, and to see everyone again. But it was
hmm
tight. It was really nice.
It's awesome. What are you most excited about getting back?
Um, Honestly, the most I think it's getting back with just my bandmates and my friends. We recently saw each other and we were just catching up. And that was our first time seeing each other face to face in like a year, basically. And it was pretty crazy. And we were just kind of trying to figure out where we were all together within the band and also separate and how we feel moving forward. So I'm pretty excited just to be with them again. We're gonna get back to it, start practicing more and making more music. But that's the only thing I'm really excited about.
Were you guys were you guys just all on pause, or did you all try to do anything virtually together? Like some bands were recording individually or playing streams.
Hmm.
How did that affect y'all?
I think we were definitely on pause. We didn't officially come to agreement that we're just gonna just go on a hiatus. It would just kind of happened as the year moved forward and how everything was going on. And so um I believe that yeah, we were definitely in back last year in July. We last summer we recorded, two singles and we released them in September, I think. So we had like two songs, in the works, and we released something last year, and that was pretty much it. And like from there going forward, you know, we had our experiences with COVID being around us, so it was just we were all on the same page. Like we're not going to be able to see each other and do much, and so we might as well just take it easy, not worry too much.
Yeah, you weren't gonna force it. School
Yeah,
online and everything has been insane.
exactly.
Yeah. You mentioned getting back with your friends and everything.
Mm.
Is the OC scene like really tight, or how is how is that as far as a lot of the your contemporary bands?
I would say it's weird. It's weird because and I was just talking to them about it because we were basically all at that show, and it was my buddy Dylan and I were just talking about how we all saw everyone we knew again, and like even though it's like been a year, like we've all grown and changed. And in terms of like a scene, an Orange County scene, I wouldn't really say that it's, maybe it doesn't feel like a scene because it's been on pause, you know, but I would say that we've definitely grown, and we've definitely noticed our fans have grown, and the demographic has changed or will change soon, because 2 years ago we were um, just started college or just graduating high school, and so a year later on pause, and then even coming close to the mid to end of this year, we're all in the middle of college now, and we're all growing out of that. But I see that um, as a good amount of people I know from the Orange County scene in their 20s, I could see, you know, a young crowd coming right in to just fill in that spot. It's a cycle. It's like a never-ending cycle, and I feel like sooner or later the people and bands that we've grown up are gonna change and are gonna go off and do something else.
So do you see like bands that you were coming up around, like the Grins or anyone like them? Are you guys sort of moving into different scenes or just growing apart as bands, or what's kind of
Um,
happening with new ones coming in?
I definitely want to play shows with all those same guys, all the same people we've had before. Um, but I think just for us, the main focus is on us and what we want to do, because so much we've experienced so much not together, and
Mhm.
um and I think the main focus is on where we want to go, because we obviously want to progress, and we want to start doing things bigger and outside of California, sooner or later. But yeah, we're just dipping our toes back into it, and seeing and also seeing like how everyone else is doing and where everyone else is going.
Mhm. If you guys could go on a big tour, what is one act that you guys would like to go on the road with?
Hmm. Um, we I don't know. We never really thought about it. We thought a few back, like a couple years back, we thought going on tour with the Red Pears would be cool. You familiar with them?
I think I've heard a few of their tracks.
Yeah, they're a California born band, and they've gone to play like Coachella, and they've made a bigger name for themselves. And I think that and we've played shows with them before, and I thought that'd be really cool because we share that same type of style and music, the garage rock type of thing. And they've gone on tour before, and they've brought along bands that we've also played with. So I thought that would have been pretty cool to go
Mhm.
on tour with them. And also I don't really know. It would be cool to go on tour with like buddies of ours. Like it'd be cool to go with Julie, you know. But I've never really thought about it now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just something it's
Mhm.
fun to think about. How
Yeah.
would you explain the aesthetic and kind of sound of Makeout Reef to our viewers and people that may be new to the band?
Mhm. Um, I would definitely say it's very California like sounding. A lot of people have described our music to be surfy, you know, but I I get that, but I've never been like a big surf type of guy. Like I was never into that type of style of music, but I see why, and I see the influence there, because like it just kind of happens. California bands could kind of get that influence by default, to have a little surfy, a little sunny vibe to it. But I would say that our genre or our aesthetic kind of just draws from a bunch of stuff, bunch of different stuff we listen to. Like a good portion of us really love Sonic Youth, and we really like the Pixies. We really like, big, high, energetic sounds, and for our shows to be highly energetic. And but on top of that, like we love things like the Beatles. I love a lot of pop music, so I like the catchiness and melodic tones to music, but also being very raw and like powerful at the same time. So it just kind of draws from a bunch of a bunch of different stuff. But I would say just and like things like the Strokes, that's another thing that people kind of link to us. But I would say just like very catchy rock and roll, very melodic.
Yeah, almost like yeah, just really focus on melodies and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, if you guys could add a cover to your set, what would it be? I know you guys have a lot of stuff like Sonic Youth and Pixies and Strokes listed on your Spotify's
Hmm.
influences and covers you guys have done. But what's something that you guys haven't really quite been able to dip your toes in yet?
Um, we've done many covers, but I feel like we've done covers where it kind of just sounds how the song should be. I would like to do something where it would be our own rendition, like we've covered songs where it just is kind of like a mirrored version of that song, but just with like my voice on it. But like I would like to do just like totally take some other genre and like flip it. I always have this like idea in my mind, what's that song? I think it's not even like an underground song. Um it's by Tears for Fears, or Tears in it's the it's the Four Leaf Clover song. I forgot what it's called.
I don't know.
I forgot what it's called, but I always thought that song would be tight, like to play, and like I don't know, but sorry. But yeah, we've covered like Beatles before. We've covered like Pixies and stuff. I recently did like a cover of like Blondie, but in like an acoustic, like folky version, I guess.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know actually.
You mentioned that Dylan was in Julie.
Mm.
Do you guys have a lot of solo stuff going on, especially being isolated from the pandemic, or where is your where is your creative focus kind of been the past year?
Um, I feel like for me personally, for the past year, I've just been like focusing on myself, and I kind of took a break on songwriting because I felt like it was like giving me a lot of stress, you know, and it was because I was in a position where I wanted to do more stuff, but I didn't have my band or the resources to do it. So, and it was kind of hard. It was kind of hard going through that, and I kind of just took a huge break on music on myself because at the end of the day it was just being more work and being more stressful, being secluded in my room trying to come up with things, and it would just kind of like go off nowhere. But some of that stuff actually ended up um, being on like my future solo music and stuff like that. But I definitely have stuff in store for the band, but I would like to get with my band soon and rehash those ideas.
Did you guys have? I mean, the last large project was 2018. Did
Hmm.
you guys have something that was coming down the pipeline sooner than we? I mean, with an earlier
Mm.
expected release than where we're at now?
Um, yes, we've gone through like a lot of changes. So from 2018, that album that we released, we those were all songs that we written since 2016. So
Hmm.
it was actually like a couple years for that to be put out. But when we were all like, you know, young teenagers. But after that point, we had a bunch of ideas and a bunch of things in the works that weren't able to come into fruition because we gone through like a lot of line like band changes, like a lot of, you know, guitarists and bass players coming in and out of the band, and just like other personal things. And also we were like graduating high school and going off into college, so it was like, you know, life changing stuff. And and from that point, I was and have been like the sole like songwriter and like, you know, to produce the stuff for the band. And it was kind of, so all the ideas for the band were kind of just like stuck in my head. And like I had like a bunch of EP ideas, and we had like demos in the works, but then just like things fell through and like those never became anything. But we've actually played some of them live. And that was the thing, is we went on like this big like live, you know, uh not tour, but you know, we were really going off with every show that was given to us. And we were
Yeah, you
playing,
guys were on a good streak.
yeah, we were playing like almost like week to week, like every month of shows. And it was just I was kind of burnt out, to be honest with you. And to have that idea of like, oh man, we need to like sit down and record stuff, but we're still like getting like good offers for shows. It's kind of hard to find the balance.
I saw in another interview that you guys had been kind of hung up on a song called Snafu.
Yeah.
How's that progress
uh,
going?
we were literally talking about that last time we met up. And um I think it's still in our file. It's like the files and the song is still there. It's kind of the mix is kind of messed up right now. Something happened. and and then, you know, obviously the pandemic hit. And we yeah, because I know an interview you're talking about, we talked about that in January of like 2020 to finish that. And then, you know, everything happened. And so we I think that's still on pause. But and we've talked about like playing it live, but right now we're a three-piece band. And
Hmm.
so musically we're fully a four-piece band, you know. So that song is very big and very like theatrical. So it's kind of hard to do that with just three guys. And we would like to play it live soon, but in terms of recording it, I don't know right now. Yeah,
Okay.
because it's like it was also like very supposed to be experimental. And
Hmm.
so we were like adding like, audio file after layer of everything. And all of those files just kind of just got lost, and like it got messed up. But
Uh, you had said then that you were kind of on a in a Pet Sounds phase, and that's kind of what was
yeah.
influencing how sort of big in scope that project was going to be.
Mhm.
What's revenue right now?
Mm, it's funny because like I love the Beach Boys, I love Pet Sounds, and I love like the Beatles and stuff. But like that's been like my comfort music, so I've been like trying to like stray away from that. And but I've been listening to a lot of like Angel Olsen, and just I've been like into very like acoustic stuff. And there's this band called Balkans. They're broken up now, but they're back in like 2011. They're from Atlanta, Georgia, and they were really cool. They were very heavy, like garage rock, very stroke-esque type of band. And I'm still very influenced by them, and their stuff are things I would like to do. But but still definitely that aspect of having that pop influence from like the Beatles and the Beach Boys is always going to be there. And like in terms of snafu and like snafu being influenced by Pet Sounds, I still want to do more like that and like stray away from the typical like garage rock sound and actually like mess around with things and do something, maybe not in like super innovative, but like different for us, you know.
Yeah. Um, you Existential, as you're saying, is a little bit old now. And
Mhm.
you guys have been playing those songs for a bit.
Yeah.
How do you feel about still playing those songs that you guys wrote, wow, in the throes of high school?
I am super over it. To be honest with you, I'm really over it. And we talked about this when we all got together because it's been a year since we've seen each other, and it's been a few years since we've been in high school. So we've all like agreed that we're like kind of over playing those songs, and a lot of people love those songs, and I love those songs, but it's just kind of driving me crazy. And so I think these next couple shows and like shows moving forward, you're gonna like start seeing those songs kind of fade away.
Yeah, I think the phrase is kind of the Strokes are the best Strokes cover band.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But
Um,
but to talk about the board, it's like again, like that was us when we were in high school. So like those topics don't like resonate with me or them anymore, and we're going through different things, in life, and and that's where we see like the demographics of our audience change, because the people that were listening to us were um in the same age or a little bit younger, and now we're all in our 20s going off and moving out of California, and so it's just kind of adapting to who we are.
yeah. Um, for listeners that might not know, can you explain the name Makeout Reef?
uh so Makeout Reef was it was this place in SpongeBob, and it's where all the young teenage fishes go out to make out on top of this giant coral reef. um and it was like this like huge big like superhero battle on there. I don't know how to get into that, but like I uh I don't even remember how I came up with that name or just like even found it, but it was definitely influenced by Surf Curse, because Surf Curse took their name from a Brady Bunch episode. It was like the tiki curse necklace or something, and so they took that Surf Curse, and I thought the same thing, like, oh, Makeout Reef, take that name and make into a band, and then it became
Yeah.
something.
What's your favorite SpongeBob episode?
I love the episode where it's it's like that time travel episode where it was like they were cavemen. Do you remember?
Hmm.
And they were like trying to
Yeah,
create the fire. I think it was the
SpongeBob
same.
BC.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And I think it was the same episode where Squidward went into that time machine, and he went like far off into the future, and everything's just chrome, you know?
Yeah,
And like they're all just like looking at the fire and like discover fire, and it's just like that, his face and stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
I think all the episodes are on Amazon Prime. I need to get into all that again and watch SpongeBob again.
No, yeah. There's a banger of a Patchy the Pirate song on that episode.
Oh my god, yes. And the voice actor of Patrick is just like rapping on it.
Yeah,
Oh my god. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So you were, so yeah. Well, has Liam?
Mhm.
Have you guys been in more online school recently?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so I was I was gonna ask how
Mhm.
being in San Luis Obispo has kind of affected how the band operates, but being in COVID, I'm sure that probably seemed like a cakewalk.
Yeah, of just like being distant and just like texting all the time. But
Yeah.
um we kind of gotten used to it. And even before COVID, Liam was pretty used to driving back and forth from Slow to Long Beach. And he has like no problem with it because he does that all the time. Because he has friends up there, he has friends down here. So um it's just a matter of scheduling and asking where he's at because he's always out on trips. Right now he's on a trip right now, and that's why he couldn't make it. But
Okay.
yeah, but so it hasn't been like a big like problem for us. I mean we can't see each other, but it was just always a thing. And but he's always made it for shows and like and stuff, and always sacrificed coming down for all the important stuff, you know.
Hmm.
So so big props to him.
Yeah. So you said that you're the primary songwriter for a lot of the projects. How
Yeah.
does what's the process of the band creatively? So are you guys going into where whatever recording space y'all have and then just kind of starting from there, or you're bringing songs to the band, or you guys are practicing before you get into the studio, or stuff is happening in the studio? How does
Um,
that take place?
it's always different, but it always starts with me um kind of coming up with song ideas. But but basically it's again we've gone through a lot of like show dates and people asking us to play shows. So in the midst of all that, I'm like trying to write songs, you know, and I want to play those songs. So I try to write them all the way through, and and I bring it to them, and they add, you know, Liam brings in his drums, and you know, I work out the bass stuff with Dylan, and he catches it pretty easily, and that's how it's been for the past couple of years. But recently like Liam was able to acquire like his own studio, and he's like building his own home studio right now, and so we're going to start using that more. And I've recently just bought some recording equipment for my own, you know, studio, and I've been like writing songs for myself for like a solo project. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And we it's all comes down to us meeting, and and um and but I definitely want it to be more collaborative. This next project, I want it to be not just, you know, my songwriting abilities, but also what they like and what they want to add like technically and also sound wise. We really want to change uh some parts of our sound and be like a little more mature and what we've been like inspired by as of recently.
Um, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Are you guys signed, or are you guys going to is that something you guys want to do, or are you guys going to keep putting out independently?
Yeah, so we're not signed, and yeah, that's what we've been doing for a while, is just like just, you know, doing it ourselves, and it's worked, you know. It's we've we've been able to grow our fan base managing ourselves, and that like adds to the stress. We manage ourselves, you know, like we don't have a manager, we don't have a like someone to help with publicity and stuff. We just do it ourselves. And I think um but I think bands nowadays don't need that, you know. You don't need to rely on a record label. I mean, and there's this whole other thing of like TikTok. Bands are getting big off of TikTok. So, you know, if you're able to manage, you know, that type of social media, you could make something out of your name. But we've gotten uh like once we've had a record label be interested in us, and we tried to like email them back and like send in our demos and stuff, but they didn't hit us up back.
Ah,
It's all good though. We're still here.
Exactly. Is there a producer or someone that you guys would like to work with coming up with any projects to record?
Mm, nothing in particularly. Liam's really good at working. He knows a lot about music, and he's going to school for it, and I'm going to school for music too. But he's done a lot more, and he knows a lot about producing and mixing and stuff. So I think what we're going to do is we're still going to do it ourselves, and and we're gonna, still do how we've always done it, the best of our knowledge. But we're probably gonna try to find a studio or a producer that could mix and master it even better. But no one really comes to mind. I know there's this place called Jazz Cat Studios in Long Beach. They put out some good stuff, and like we've worked last year, we've worked with um, uh, Astro Records, and they were really tight, and it was really cool to get into an actual studio. And with those two singles, you could tell the sound difference. You could tell like a big leap in production. So that's definitely where we're heading, and we're definitely not going to settle for anything less than the best quality of us.
Hmm. You guys have some demos floating around, and then
Mhm.
even some of the other early stuff is a little rough around the edges. Would you guys ever want to re-record that, or do you guys think that that is in the form that you guys are happy with?
um I think, because like we said before, all those songs were back in 2018, and we're kind of past that. There those two singles that we put out last year, I wouldn't mind re-recording and putting on a full length, because I've always liked those songs, and I kind of, in terms of like that kind of sound, we're kind of heading that direction. But our song Montezuma's Revenge is like one of my favorites, and it still resonates with me to this day, and I would like to re-record that, and I think we are gonna re-record that one.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
Montezuma's Revenge is great. I think my favorite track off Existential is So Slowly.
Yeah.
Played that a few times on here.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Um,
Oh, thank you.
of course. If you guys could go kind of off base with your recording, what's a genre that you guys would like to explore? Just anything.
mm, we were talking about like like just jazz recently, and last time we were practicing, we were like we were playing we were doing kind of like a, not shoegazy, but we were like messing around, and we were doing kind of like a swirlies type of thing, but it was just like a quick second, like kind of like a um very drainy and very
Like you guys turned all the pedals on to see what would happen.
yeah. And it was very just like head bobby and very, and 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 like after we jammed and like pushed that out randomly, we're like, we should do that. Let's like one day like do something like that one day. um I would want to do more acoustic stuff, you know. I would want to do more piano stuff, more keys in our songs, and I want it to be bigger. I would like to add like strings, and just in terms of my songwriting, I'm a very visual like songwriter. Like I like when you listen to a song that you could see it, you know,
Yeah, you see
more
the
than
story.
just, yeah, you could see it more than you can just listen to it. And so I think I still want to head in that direction, and just to make things bigger than just garage rock, honestly, but still have that element,
Yeah, there's an edge, there's a youthfulness in it.
Oh yeah. And
And sort of piggybacking off of that. So I mean, you're a pretty chill guy. We're just having this conversation, but
Thank you.
your vocals are really loud and explosive and incredible. Where are you
Yeah.
sort of reaching for that? Where does that come from?
Um, I don't know. Because like I was I was kind of like in a spot where I was like, oh, I don't like my voice, but like it's just my voice, and what I think is cool about um our band and what we do musically and with my vocals, I'm not really trying to sound like anyone or trying to put on a voice. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
Like I'm not into that whole thing. Like no disrespect to anyone else, but like I just like I'm not really into like kind of um using my singing voice into a way that it doesn't sound like natural. And so, with my singing abilities back then, I was screaming a lot. So that was kind of like the range and the things I could do. But lately I've been like trying to, do some softer things and something beyond my octave, or like trying to go higher, trying to go, something more complex.
I mean, it's an instrument like anything else.
Oh yeah, definitely. And piggyback on the Beach Boys, like I love their harmonies, and I feel like that's also an element that I'd want to do too with our music, is to have those guys sing as well and to kind of layer our voices into something. And but I would say that a lot of people, since we're very influenced by like Strokes, like a lot of people have said like, oh, like Strokes, Julian Casablancas, and I've gone like um or we've gone like Beatle-ish vibes. So like people say like John Lennon, and I could kind of see that because like I don't know, they also use their voice where it's just it literally just sounds like their voice when they're singing. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I could kind of I can understand how people are saying that. So I would say that, and I kind of like draw my influence from that. Just sounding like yourself and doing what you can with your voice. And I feel like um since then I've become a better singer. So I'm gonna try to use my voice in different and complex ways than just yelling. But I do like yelling. It is fun and screaming. But and I still want to do that on, future stuff, but um just try and do more complex stuff is our main
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It sounds like your ideas for the band are a lot bigger than almost sort of the trio that you guys are. Would you
Mm.
guys ever want to dip into like session musicians, or do you think you want to learn a lot of stuff yourself and really just put that all together?
Mm. Um, I would hope so. I would love to work with other people, all of us to work with people and give us ideas. Like when we worked on those two singles last year, we had producers, and engineers working with us, and they brought you know, simple but like good ideas to the stuff that made those songs, better on the production. And so just in general, just having even just, a producer or engineer on board and with their music knowledge is something that we're open to. And like again, like I said, like, oh, like I want strings, or like, oh, I'd like to do piano and stuff. So we're open to that, and we would like to do that. And I think that kind of just like all of it, I think that kind of adds to like the uh the stress of it all, is because we want to do bigger and better things, but it's just kind of the resources aren't there.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's definitely a little bit harder, especially with home recording, to try to figure out just the whole scope of it.
Mhm.
Um, so if you could do, so speaking of collaboration with more artists, if you could if you could collaborate with one group or I guess a few musicians to do a double kind of combo album or EP like Death Frights, who would you want to collaborate with? Who would you want to bring into your studio to work with Liam and Dylan?
Hmm. I would say that that's a hard question because I never thought about that. But um I would like to work with more female musicians because that's also just an aspect that part of the OC scene or part of like, just any scene is that, there should be more attention to like all aspects of music and varieties and representation and stuff. So I would like to work with a female group, but I can't really think of one off the top of my head. But and to like do something with that. Like a perfect example, like The Strokes did a song with
Modern Girls.
yes,
Yeah.
they did a Strokes with what is her name? Regina Spektor. There you go. And that was great. It was a great song. So something like that would be cool to like have vocals, a female band do vocals and like mix,
Like
It'd
yeah,
be
like
cool to
Never
have that.
Lonely by Space Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
as the Fourth Wanderers vocalist in there.
Mm-hmm. Or like who else? Kurt Vile and what's her name? Courtney something. I'm like blanking out on all these names, but they just did a duo album together, you know,
Yeah.
and that was really cool. So I think having that aspect would be cool. But I can't really sorry, I can't really think of any band off the top of my head right now.
It's okay. Um, quick pivot. What's your favorite Crayola crayon color out of like the 96 pack?
Crayola. Do, do I have to like say the like exact like name?
Yes.
I don't um I don't know any names, but uh
Think
I
of a
can't
name. Just make one up.
um I don't know. Banana blue, I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah. So obviously you guys are getting back in the swing of things. You guys have shows coming up. What exactly is in the pipeline as far as recording or projects go for you guys?
Um definitely we definitely want to change our sound. We definitely we're gonna meet up soon and we're gonna put all the songs that I have in mind for us to play in these upcoming shows, and I want it to be uh, different from, again, like I told you, like I was never really into that surf rock type of stuff, so I definitely want to get us out of that, you know, with
Yeah.
all the respect, to from that genre, but I think the big thing next is just finding our sound again and finding who we are as individuals and as a band and how we're going to move forward, because we've been in this for a long time. Like we've been a band for a long time, um and our fans have changed and we've changed. So I think just just how we're going to move forward and like taking it um you know day by day, week by week, and how much we could meet now. And but I think that's the big thing, is to um, remake our sound.
Get a bearing on where you guys are at, where you guys are
Yeah,
going.
yeah.
Yeah. How long have you guys been playing music together?
um well, Liam and I, the band started in 2016, and so basically Liam and I have been playing together since then, because he's always been the drummer. And yeah, and it's like it's pretty crazy because like that's how we met, you know. We met through the band, and we met um while we were in high school, and we went to different schools, so it was just meeting mutuals and we found Liam at the time, and he stuck as our drummer ever since. And so we've gone through a lot, and we've like done so many shows. We've gone through a lot as a band, so that's like a crazy aspect too, is that that's how we've known each other as bandmates.
Okay. What were those first gigs like, and when did it kind of become comfortable for you guys?
um so our first show was at a it was at this place called D Piazza's in Long Beach. And if you know anything about like you know being a band around OC in Long Beach, D Piazza's is always like the starter venue for a new band and for like high school bands. So our first show was there, and so we were it was we were a four piece, and those following weeks we were still looking for a drummer. And so we found like Liam through a mutual friend like last minute, and he like picked up like the music like instantly. We had like one practice with him. I think our first practice with him was the day of our show.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like no joke. Like, and so and um and the show was great. Like we played really well, and um the people loved us and had a good time. The however many people were there, but people were moshing in a very small circle. But it was a really good show for our first show, and especially practicing with like Liam for the first time. But and then it was just like so we were very comfortable with each other from the jump, and we just kept going. Yeah.
Yeah. So is it, especially with the separation? I mean, it's been a little bit since you guys have been able to play a show, but with Liam up in Luis Obispo, and the rest of you guys spread out a little bit more. Were you guys able to just reconvene right off the jump for shows and hop into it, or is there a
Yeah.
little bit of rust every time?
um Honestly, well, this has been our biggest break. Like
Hmm.
it's been like a year long break. So when we met up recently, it was very it was very rough. But 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 we still got it. Like we were like, oh, like we felt like old men, like, oh, we're back together, like doing this. But other than that, it was always very easy for us to play those songs like every time. And like even with like the new with bandmates coming in and out, like it was pretty solid. And we there were some hiccups, but we I believe we were always able to put on good shows.
It's good to hear that you guys are getting back into the rhythm of all of it.
Hmm.
What is there anything today that we haven't touched on that you'd like to get out to the fans or the listeners?
um that we're still alive, and that because we're not active on social media, it doesn't mean we're not thinking about the band every day, and like thinking about the fans. uh and that was an aspect that we talked about, is that we're not very public right now. Like we're not like, personally for all of us, like we're not big um social media heads where we like to like post on what we're doing and like, oh, look at all of the cool stuff we're up to. So that aspect has played into you know um Makeout Reef, and Makeout Reef seeming like we're not a band anymore. But we're still doing stuff. And um our our fans have had a lot of patience, and I could tell they, with our last release, they're like itching to get new stuff from us. So I would just say like you know we're taking it slow, and we're still trying to gather ourselves, but we still want to be in this. And and yeah,
I mean, that's awesome to hear that you
yeah.
guys are coming out on
Hmm.
the other side of this, ready to just get
Hmm.
out there, start
Yeah,
putting stuff out, start playing shows.
yeah.
Where else? Where can they find you guys? Are there any solo? Is there any solo stuff out for you guys? Um,
Um,
what's everybody's? Where can they find you?
so definitely Instagram is our big social media, platform where we post about everything and all the music we have. We have Instagram, we have Twitter. Um, we also have a Facebook page. All of our music is on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, our Bandcamp. We're on, our music's on TikTok as well. Our music's on Instagram. Our music's on Deezer, Napster, still, I guess. Um, and also, we want to make merch too. Like we want to make t-shirts and stuff. Like we want to, give stuff back too as well. But I and that's another thing too is for solo stuff. I'm focusing on my solo music right now, and I'm trying to finish that by the end of this year. And but I don't really have anything out except for like one song on Spotify at Johnny Echoes. That's my solo music, Johnny Echoes. And Dylan, just to plug everyone, Dylan has his band Julie, and Liam, I believe he's doing some solo stuff as well, but he hasn't released anything. But that's also just um things too, like, Dylan has his own band, he has his own music and he's working on his own studio and stuff. And I have my own solo music as well. And I think my solo music kind of mixes with Makeout Reef's music because being the songwriter. So um, if I'm releasing any solo music this year, it could be, prototype for future Makeout Reef stuff as well.
Yeah, of course. It's gonna cross pollinate. It's gonna kind of
Hmm.
all stem from the same place. And you,
Yeah,
well, Josh, thank you so much for sitting down with me. This
dude, thank
has,
you so much.
yeah. I'm Her Majesty. You're on WKNC. The band is Makeout Reef. Talk to you guys later.